Hello, everyone. We warmly welcome you all to our special program brought to you by Indian Achievers Forum. I'm your host, Vatika Singh. Indian Achievers Award is an honor that celebrates the people who went extraordinary to effectuate their aspirations and ideas. In this series, we emphasize not only on the struggles and achievements of the people, but also on the social contributions they made to their native land, India. Before introducing you all to our one such achiever, let's take a look at the small AV.
The Indian Achievers Forum is driven by a full-fledged advisory board. The board consists of experienced personalities who have excelled in their respective careers. Together, the forum organizes conferences, events, workshops, exhibitions, trade shows, and B2B initiatives in India as well as abroad. Where there is passion, there is achievement. And where there is achievement, there is Indian Achievers Forum.
Mr. Sourya Biswas was born in Kolkata, India. He has 18 years of cybersecurity experience and is currently a technical director at NCC Group. He has authored several articles on cybersecurity and has been invited to present a major security. He has authored several articles on cybersecurity and has been invited to present at major security conferences like Geek Week, B-Sides SF, and InfoSec World. He is married with two children and lives in Chicago with his family. Hello,
Hello,
sir. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine as well, sir. So, before entering into the questions, tell us something about you and your professional journey.
Okay, all right, sure. Hi, my name is Sourya Biswas. I was born in India, but right now I live in the United States, specifically in Chicago, where I live with my wife and two kids. So that's my first job, being a father of those two kids. But my second job is a cybersecurity professional. Specifically, I am a security advisor to clients across the spectrum. So I've advised very well-known Fortune 500 clients as well as smaller startups. So in this capacity, I actually work at this firm called NCC Group. So we are the largest security consulting firm in the world. So while there may be other firms which are larger in size, we are a focused firm in the sense that security consulting and security related work is everything that we do. We don't do any other kind of work. So I'm part of the firm leadership as being a director in the firm. So my responsibilities include obviously providing input to the firm strategy as well as executing that strategy. So I work with our marketing team to improve our brand positioning, with our sales team to win work for the firm, with the delivery team to deliver that work. And one part which I absolutely love is the client engagement, interacting with clients, learning about their problems, and helping solve those problems. So, in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Right, sir. So, moving ahead, I'm really keen to know that what inspired you to pursue this particular field as your career in business.
Mhm. Sure. So my journey towards cybersecurity started with introduction to computers. So that was when I was in India. In school, we had like basic programming class. I started like with actually with the basic language, then moved on to C, C++. Uh, I mean, computers then were obviously like very slow compared to what we have today, right? I'm pretty sure the computer in my mobile phone or even possibly my watch is faster than what I had on my workstation at that point of time. But I was still impressed with the how computers can make like normal mundane tasks easier and faster. So I actually then got interested in computers in general, decided to do engineering in information technology. And well, I got recruited out of my college. I started working with this software company called Canbay in Hyderabad. And then gradually my interest moved from computers in general to secure computers, securing information systems. And that's how I made the transition from software to cybersecurity.
That's really great, sir. So, moving ahead, we know for a fact that starting anything has never been easy for any one of us. So, what all were the challenging predicaments that you had to go through initially when you started on this journey?
Yeah, cybersecurity is a challenge in itself, right? Because if you think about it, right, so I am playing defense, right, against the bad guys who are the attackers. So the thing about cybersecurity is the defenders have to be right all the time, whereas the attackers have to be right only once, right? So that obviously makes the game very challenging in itself. At the same time, it is enjoyable, right? Because obviously the challenge kind of contributes to the interest or the dynamism of the work itself. Another thing about cybersecurity is when I'm advising clients, I often have to communicate bad news, right? So I have to tell them that, okay, your controls aren't good enough, your risk is too high. So the way out of that, the way I've kind of tried to solve that challenge is trying to mix the good with the bad. So not every I mean pretty much nobody is all bad. They have something good going with them as far as cybersecurity is concerned. So the way I frame that conversation, I talk about the good things and then transition into what are the things that can be done better, right? So that's one challenge that I face every day in my work. And on a personal basis, some one challenge that I've faced, especially after coming to the US, where I actually came here to get my MBA. The challenge was around immigration issues, right? So, as an international student, as an Indian citizen, I even before I got my first job, I first had to find an employer who would be willing to sponsor a work visa, right? Which obviously uh, makes my options restricted. In fact, that is something that I still face today, right? I'm still on a work visa. I'm still kind of waiting for that elusive green card. Hopefully, it will happen one day. My kids are U.S. citizens, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, well, I've kind of gotten used to it to be to be honest at this point of time. But yeah, immigration is something that is still a challenge for me personally.
But I'm sure that these challenges have made you much more stronger for all your future endeavors as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a famous author once said that what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, right? So any
Right.
difficulty, the effort you actually expend to overcome the difficulty, yeah, makes you, I think, a stronger person. So yeah, I guess it has contributed to where I am and what I am today.
Right. So you also must be having certain future plans, right? So what are your future plans exactly with respect to your industry?
That's a good question. So one thing about cybersecurity I realized is things are always changing, right? So like
Right.
every day kind of throws up a new attacker using a new tactic, using new technologies. So the best way to keep oneself employed in this industry is never to stop learning, right? So even after like 17, 16 to 17 years in the business, I feel that I still need to learn something new every day. So that's why I've actually gone through a lot of these certification exams. I read a lot of blogs, security related blogs. So yeah, I mean, constantly keep yourself learning. I mean, I guess that is true for pretty much any field today, right? Because we live in a very fast moving world, but more so in the field of cybersecurity where things are changing every day, right? And as I said, again, the attackers have to be right only once. We, the defenders, have to be right all the time. So obviously, we need to keep ourselves always updated with the latest developments in this field. So yeah, that is something I intend to continue as long as I am working in this field. Continuously learn, and again, learning doesn't have to be from someone older and more experienced than me. I think I learn a lot from even people who report to me in an organization just because they're younger. I mean, they have seen things growing up that I may not have seen, right? The age that I encountered computers was, I think, around 14 years, right? My kids are using tablets even at the age of 3, 4, right? So it's a generational thing as well. So yeah, keeping myself constantly educated and aware is something that I always plan to do.
And we wish you all the best for all these plans of yours. Moving ahead, I really want to know what exactly is your current role and what does your organization cater?
Mhm. Sure. As I said, I'm a director in my organization. So security is the only thing that we do, right? Security work. So and again, security work can span a pretty large umbrella of services. So from like assessing security programs of our clients, right, as well as kind of simulating the attackers by doing penetration testing, to improving awareness of our clients' employees through security awareness training. We do it all. So yeah, I mean, if you think about the golden triangle of people, process, technology. So we kind of do security work across all those three sides of that golden triangle. So for people, we have the security awareness training. For the process, we have um, like program assessments, leveraging standards like the NIST cybersecurity framework or ISO 27001. And the technical aspect, as I said, we try and think like the attackers, right? So we try to um, attack our clients' infrastructure, obviously with their permission. Uh, and that is what's called as penetration testing. We try to kind of get into their network and show them what are the gaps so that they know that they should fix those before an actual attacker does something bad.
Right, sir. So first of all, congratulations on winning the Indian Achievers Award. I really want to know that what was the feeling when you came to know that you have won the award, and who all have been your constant supporters in this journey of yours?
Constant support as well. As a married person, I obviously have to mention my wife. But it is true, actually. If you think about it, right? I mean, she's a homemaker. She's raising two pretty mischievous and intelligent kids, right? And I think that her workload is more than mine. I mean, I don't like the term housewife, right? Because I don't think it really encompasses all the challenges that somebody like my wife has to do, right? Raising two kids. I think my life is much easier dealing with clients, right? It is much, I think it's much easier to convince clients than to convince my 5 and 4 year olds. So yeah, definitely them. And of course, at the start of my journey, my parents, right? I mean, so I'm a Bengali, and you know, right, Bengali families have this like very sometimes a little too much focus on studies, right? So I had the same. So even though I mean I was pretty good at academics, but I didn't really like to study. So I would often kind of do most of my studying before the exams. So my I remember like so I would stay awake all night, and my mom would ensure that I had food to kind of fuel my night long study sessions. And she would often get up and see that I'm doing okay on that. So I still remember those. I mean, those were like 25, 30 years back, but I still remember those. So yeah, my parents, my wife, and of course, the reason I'm doing all this is for my kids, right? So yeah, I think family comes first. So yeah, I mean, they are the ones who have been inspiration. But professionally, yeah, there have been a few. I've had the fortune of having quite a few good managers. I remember Sanjay Sharma. He was my manager at Citigroup, and this was like around 15 years ago, at the very kind of beginning of my career. And I mean, he was my manager for only 3 months, but I still remember him because he that was the kind of impact he had on me. So yeah, there have been a few other people who have like recruited me, mentored me, showed me where I'm doing wrong. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I think nobody grows alone. I mean, unless somebody is like a veritable genius. But even people like those require some kind of support, and I've definitely needed support from a lot of people.
Right. So now, since we know a lot about your professional role, tell us something about your social contributions as well.
Social contribution. So I know you mentioned at the very beginning of contributions in India. To
Right.
be honest, I don't know whether I've done a lot for India. I mean, because I left India long time back, right? So I came here in 2010 to get my MBA, and I've been working here since. But I've tried to be in touch with my culture. Obviously, I always speak. My wife and I always speak in our mother tongue, Bengali, in our house, right? Even though my kids always try to speak in English with us. But what I've tried to do for India is like I've tried to kind of be involved in certain charitable organizations. So there is one called Bharat Sevashram. I've tried to be involved there, done a little bit of donations. Actually, when I was in India, when I was doing my engineering college, I was quite heavily involved. I've even gone to these like camps where uh, food had been served, and I had served food. I was actually part of the Harashasram, the guys who go to the gym, and they would be asked to move the heavy food containers, stuff like that. I remember, again, this is like long time back. So right now, with respect to my work, I think the biggest social contribution is me doing this kind of work itself, right? So I am proud to be working in a firm which has the motto of making the world secure. So I think the work that I do actually does that, right? And even though most of my work is with American clients, right, I know that the pretty much the entire world uses American products and services. So my clients, right, whatever products and services they bring to the market, they're actually being used across the world, in India as well. Obviously, India is very tech savvy. So, I mean, in the Indian population uses a lot of the products and services that I actually help secure. And another thing is that so this cybersecurity is a growing field, right? So as being part of NCC Group leadership, I also help kind of recruit and train the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. So I think I would count that as a social contribution as well.
Sure, sir. So now, before concluding this session, you know that IF is followed not only by mainstream organizations, but also those young minds who aspire to be like our achievers someday. So, what is that one message you'd like to give them?
One thing I realized is that yes, academics matter, right? They're important, right? But they are not the end all, right? I'm sure there are people who had ranked above me in school. There are people who have ranked below me in school, right? But that was not the sole determinant of future success. I think what is more important is to have a passion for something, right, and work towards it. There's a very famous saying that if you enjoy the work that you do, you never have to work a day in your life, right? So basically, if you're lucky enough to find your passion, and if you're lucky enough to work in that field, I think that is much more important than being good at academics. And more than academics and like formal education, I believe experience doing something, getting your hands dirty, I think that is very important. So don't be afraid to make mistakes would be my advice for the next generation. But you should learn from your mistakes. Ideally, you shouldn't keep making the same mistakes over and over again. As long as you do that, as you have the confidence to go ahead continuously, even if in small increments, I think you can make a success of your life.
And that I must say is a great piece of advice. Thank you so much for joining with us today. It was pleasure talking to you, and we hope that you continue to inspire people of all ages forever. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Bhautika. It's a pleasure.